I confessed to my crush in front of the whole class during a trust activity. I thought it would be romantic. It wasn't. Before I explain what I did, you need to understand the specific chain of terrible decisions that led me here. Because this was not a single moment of stupidity. This was a carefully engineered cascade of stupidity spanning 3 weeks, one group chat, and a best friend who I now believe was sent to ruin my life. My name is not important. What's important is that I'm 16. I go to a public high school in central Ohio, and for approximately 3 months, I had been absolutely, catastrophically in love with a boy in my AP English class named Declan. Declan with the dark hair and the worn-out Vans and the habit of underlining passages in his books so aggressively you could read them from the back cover. Declan, who once spent 10 minutes defending the narrative structure of a book our teacher hated, citing 3 secondary sources he had memorized. I was gone. Completely gone. I had no business operating heavy machinery around this boy. The thing is, and I want to be very clear about this for the purposes of what comes next, I had what I genuinely believed were signals. Real, concrete, interpretable signals. He always sat near me when seating was open. He laughed at things I said even when they weren't funny. He texted me once at 10 p.m. about a homework assignment and then kept the conversation going for 2 hours. And at the end he said, "This was fun. We should do this again. And I want to ask the class, what am I supposed to do with that? What does 'this was fun, we should do this again' mean at 10 p.m. if not a confession of romantic interest? I'm asking. I genuinely want to know." My best friend Maya told me to go for it. Maya has been in a relationship for 14 months and has therefore developed the unshakable confidence of someone who has solved love and now coaches others. She said, "Just tell him. Boys don't pick up on hints. You have to say the actual words." She said this like she was giving me a recipe. Like it was that simple. Like, the actual words were not the terrifying part. 3 weeks after Maya's advice, which I had been ignoring because I am a coward with good self-preservation instincts, our AP English teacher, Mrs. Patterson, introduced a unit on vulnerability and narrative voice. I already didn't like where this was going. As a warm-up exercise, she announced a modified version of a trust activity she'd read about in a pedagogical journal. We had to go around the room and complete the sentence. Something I've never told anyone in this class is 24 students, 1 sentence each. Mrs. Patterson said it was about practicing the discomfort of authentic disclosure and that it would inform our personal essays. She said it was low stakes. She used the words low stakes out loud with her mouth. The activity started at the front of the room and worked its way back. People said things like, "I was in theater in middle school and I used to be really into reptiles and I cry at commercials sometimes." Normal things. Safe things. The ambient energy in the room was warm and slightly awkward in the way these activities always are, but nobody was saying anything that would follow them to graduation. I was seat 14. I had approximately 7 people ahead of me to come up with something real but harmless. Something like, "I've never told anyone I have a secret playlist of early 2000s pop," or "I still sleep with a stuffed animal sometimes." These were both true. Either of these would have been fine. But here's the thing about being 16 and having feelings so large, they've basically colonized your entire brain. You stop making rational decisions approximately 8 minutes before you need to make one. And by the time it was my turn, I had convinced myself, in the span of those 7 people, that this was it. This was the moment. The activity was literally called something I've never told anyone. The universe had provided me a structure. All I had to do was step into it. Maya, who was sitting 3 desks to my left, caught my eye right as I took a breath. She shook her head once, very slightly, like she could see exactly what I was about to do. I interpreted this as encouragement. I was wrong. I said, "Something I've never told anyone in this class is that I've had a crush on Declan since September." I said his name. His full name. Well, his first name. But there was only one Declan. There has only ever been one Declan. Everyone in that room knew exactly which Declan I meant, because Declan was right there in seat 19, 5 desks behind me and 1 row to the right, which means I had my back to him when I said it, which means I could not see his face, which is the only mercy I have been granted in this entire story. What I could see, 23 faces. 23 faces doing 23 different versions of the same thing, which was some combination of delight, horror, and the specific frozen expression people make when they witness something they will describe in detail to someone else within the hour. Maya had both hands over her mouth, Brendan Liu, who sat next to Declan, turned to look at him immediately and then snapped back forward like he'd been electrocuted. Mrs. Patterson said, and I want to give her credit here because she really did try. Thank you for your honesty. That took courage. She moved on to seat 15 immediately. The activity continued. We went around the whole room. 3 more people shared things. I heard none of them. I was experiencing a dissociative episode in a public school classroom, Declan said when it was his turn at seat 19. Something I've never told anyone in this class is that I'm not great at handling surprises. And then he laughed a little, nervous and quiet, and Mrs. Patterson said, "Thank you, Declan," and we moved on to seat 20, and I sat in my plastic chair and felt the slow heat of every single one of my blood cells turning against me. Okay, so here's information I did not have when I opened my mouth. Declan had been dating someone since October. Her name is Priya. She goes to a different school, Westbrook, across town, which is why I didn't know. They'd been together for 4 months. They met at a robotics invitational. She is, by all accounts I have gathered in the aftermath, an extremely nice person, which honestly makes the whole thing worse because I can't even be annoyed about it. The texts, the laughing, this was fun, we should do this again. I have since replayed all of these through the lens of this information, and they read exactly the same as they did before, which means either I was misreading every signal or Declan is just like that, with people he considers friends, and I don't know which explanation is more embarrassing for me personally. I found out about Priya from Maya 40 minutes after class ended in the girls' bathroom on the 2nd floor. Maya said, "I knew about Priya. I thought you knew about Priya." I shook my head to stop you because I thought you knew and were about to say it ironically. I have nothing to say to this. The communication breakdown here is genuinely biblical. I want to make one argument, clearly and calmly, before I get to the fallout section. The activity was designed to extract genuine disclosures. Mrs. Patterson called it authentic vulnerability. She built an explicit framework for saying things you don't normally say in academic settings and framed it as an exercise in courage. I was, technically, doing the assignment. I was, technically, being authentic. The problem is that authentic vulnerability was designed for things like, I used to stutter, and my parents got divorced and it was hard. Not I am in love with someone who is in this room right now at seat 19. The activity had no guardrails for this. That's not entirely my fault. I also want to note, and I'm prepared to be judged for this, that if Declan had been single, this story would have had a completely different ending. It might have even been good. The gesture was not wrong in theory. A classroom full of witnesses is terrible context for a confession. Yes, but the fundamental impulse, to say the real thing out loud, to stop circling it, that's not crazy. That's just badly timed. There's a version of this story where I'm brave and it works out, and I need everyone to know that version exists in the same multiverse where I don't say his name specifically. I'm not saying I made a good decision. I'm saying I made a human one. Declan texted me that evening. The text said, "Hey, are you okay?" That seemed hard. That's it. That's the whole text. I have read it 411 times. I know because my phone shows me my screen time per app, and I have opened that message thread 411 times. In the last 6 days, the text is kind and it is careful, and it tells me absolutely nothing about what he actually thought, which is either very considerate of him or a masterclass in emotional self-protection, and I genuinely cannot tell which. I texted back, yeah, got a little carried away. The activity was intense. I used the word intense to describe the activity, as if the activity was the problem, as if Mrs. Patterson's pedagogical journal was responsible for what I did. He said, "Totally. She really commits to these exercises, LOL." And then he sent a meme about English teachers, and I sent one back, and we have not discussed it since. And every morning I walk into AP English and sit in seat 14, and he sits in seat 19, and we talk about books, and I am absolutely fine, and I am absolutely not fine. The class has been very respectful, which somehow makes it worse. Nobody has said anything directly to me, but there is a specific quality of silence in a room where 23 people are collectively agreeing not to bring something up, and it has a texture, and I feel it every single day. Maya apologized for 6 consecutive days. She brought me coffee on day 3. We are still friends. I have forgiven her because I was the one who opened my mouth, and also because the coffee was very good. Mrs. Patterson gave us back our personal essays last week. Mine was about something unrelated. I wrote about learning to drive. She wrote in the margin at the bottom, "Your voice is very brave. Use it." I sat with that for a long time. I'm still sitting with it. Update: Declan and I were assigned as partners for the next unit, paired by Mrs. Patterson randomly. Or maybe not randomly. I cannot prove anything, and I refuse to speculate further about what that woman knows. We worked on our analysis together for an hour after school in the library on Tuesday. It was normal. It was genuinely, almost suspiciously normal. He's a good partner. He has strong opinions about thesis structure, and he makes them known with a calm certainty that I find infuriating and also deeply attractive, which is a problem I am actively managing. Nothing was said about the confession. Nothing will probably ever be said about the confession. We're going to just keep talking about books and walking past each other in the hallway and existing in this polite, warm, completely legible friendship. And I think that's okay. I think it's actually okay. He is with Priya. She is apparently nice. The signals I read were a story I told myself, and I've been telling myself a lot of stories about Declan for 3 months, and maybe it's time to work on the ones where I'm the main character instead of him. Mrs. Patterson would probably say something about narrative voice right now. I hate that she'd be right.